Okay, students, today we get to paint our clay looms. I'm going to do a little demo on just some techniques that you can use when you paint your loom. A couple things to remember. You probably and will need to use different size brushes. So for larger areas, if I'm going to do like the background of the sky, I might try something bigger. But as I get down into the details of my animal and even the leaves here, I might even get down to a very small brush. So make sure that you're using the right size brushes. Make sure that you have water to help the paint move. I see so many students struggling to get an area painted in, but they're not using any water to help move it into those areas. And then make sure you have enough colors to create your picture or your loom. So to start with, mine is a jungle theme, so I picked some of tones and to make different types of greens. I knew that I would need some brown for my monkey and then maybe adding some white and some black to make some dark and light areas. So to get started, I might want to just think of the big picture. So I'm going to paint, I'm gonna grab, that brush is a little too big. I'm gonna grab my medium-sized brush. And I just wanna get the sky painted first. So I'm gonna get just a little bit of blue on my brush, and I always get water first. And I'm going to paint the background. Now, I have to be careful I don't get on my tree or my vine, and the minute I feel like my brush is sticking, I can just get a little bit of water and it helps spread that paint out. I might not even need any more paint. I can just spread it with a little bit of water. I wipe so it doesn't drip. It gives it more of a kind of translucent or see-through effect. If you don't want that, get more paint. More paint will make it darker and kind of fill it in. So you can kind of play around with that, the look of water, a lot of water versus maybe just a little bit of water to help you move the paint around. When you finish with one color, obviously make sure you rinse your brush. So let's say I have my whole sky done. Now in my sky, I might want to add, maybe in some areas to make it a little more interesting, some dark blue. Drop that in while it's still wet. So challenge yourself. Instead of just painting an area one color, see what happens when you mix some colors. I might throw in some white to kind of have a variety of this blue for my sky. Makes it a little bit more interesting. Now we'll pretend I did my whole sky. I need to clean my brush, and the next step would be my tree branch, which is brown. I have my tree starting on this edge here, and I want to make sure that my tree is maybe a little different than what I'm going to paint my monkey. So maybe I decide my monkey is going to be lighter, so my tree is going to be darker. So once I drop this in, maybe I'm going to drop a little black into that to make it more of a darker brown. And if it gets too dark, you can wipe. Get a little white, maybe a little brown. Remember, if your neighbor has a color, you guys can always share paint palettes too. Just make sure you ask before you use somebody else's. So I'm gonna add a little white in here to lighten up. It got kind of dark. And then a little more brown. All right, and then I would need to do my branch up here. So just keep going, fill up your loom with lots of colors. I would want to start getting some greens in here for my vine and my grass. And make sure you use white and black and other colors to create new versions of those blues or those browns so that it's not all the same color. Have fun.